Well, welcome to TradeTheMBA.com. This is John. This reports for the 29th of May. Well, as expected, we broke below that support. We weren't seeing anything that was giving us an indication that it would do differently, and sure enough, it followed through exactly with what we were looking at. Both from DOC shakeout. We were waiting for this, the move of below the red line for the extremes to let us know that we're reaching a more oversold. And we were talking about coming down, retesting this low, similar to what had happened briefly right there, but this one really fills it in. Not that it was required, it's just the readings were so weak that it was kind of a foregone conclusion. And now you've made a lower red DOC from a daily standpoint, so this has potential going even further. We were looking right here around 2762 range. Certainly within the realm of possibility, and then even below that is 2735. And of course the zero level, but that's pretty close to the zero level of the Fibonacci lines here at this particular point. So all in all, I think that it's performing pretty close to spot on with what our expectations were. You can see here the rejection of orange. At the same time, you had slight improvement of the green, which was keeping things in pretty decent condition. It's kind of given way a little bit here. Particularly since now you have orange rising, and you get steel for the NASDAQ dipping below them. We can see much stronger retracing. It would be more appropriate because then it would be closer to what we're seeing from the S&P. Bit of a divergence between the two. And again, weakness in the euro is more uncertainty unfolds as opposed to clarity, and whenever you have uncertainty, market money wants to move somewhere where they think they can get it. But of course, you can't really do anything right now when it comes to the U.S. market because of that weakness that's being expressed. So, hey, turn to commodities. Well, not so much. It's kind of holding on. But we've been pretty much in this range for quite some time. It doesn't appear to want to get out of that. You had the decent buy configuration from the rising red DOC, but it's got to really kick it into high gear. At this particular point, you would need to see at least steel pop back up to give you some help, and or the green moving over cyan hasn't quite happened yet. So you got more malaise stuck right there. It's so easy from our intraday. We were looking at short from before. Let me just slide it down. Take a look at the previous action. We had our little pumps, and then we were coming up, and then we put in the nice DOC spread. Boom, hit the zero. They came back, brought it all the way back up to the top, which is sort of kind of a typical maneuver. And in this particular case, put in a slightly higher red, but it was just beautiful as it started to flatten out and roll over right there at the peak. It's pretty exciting to see that. We didn't even have, at that point, magenta over 15 yet. And then it was just a matter of waiting. And it seemed like decent enough weight, but then it started to decay. And the early print coming back up didn't have the dip below the orange. It didn't happen until just above that 50%, but with no reset of the steel. I saw that as an opportunity as soon as I could find a rejection point between green and cyan to attack. Pretty much occurred right at the peak point after what you would consider a decent buy, which it was from that configuration when it dipped below. But the rejection of green with that spider. Right there, cyan comes back above, falling steel. It looks like it with the red bars in it, but it was kind of sketchy too because it came down. It's like, okay, it's working in my favor, and then boom, it shot all the way back up. It's like I'm upside down, and then boom, came in there. Fortunately, it was just an ad from the previous position, and then the final rollover right at the same 50% marker, and a strong DOC spread as the red rolls over. Continues. You still have plenty of opportunity all along these multiple signals going through here, and then it broke that 38, broke down to the 23, and then once it got below the 23, it was lights out, the door is closed, the eggs are cooling, the jello is jiggling, and the butter is getting hard as the cold continues all the way into this pre-market at this particular point. Finally getting the earliest signals where you might have the tiniest of support, but again, no reset of that steel. And so until I still see that steel dip below red, like it did right here. Right here was kind of interesting because I was sort of looking at that, It was coming across, but it kept fading, and you didn't get that immediate crossover. Usually when these end, they end pretty quickly, and you'll get these steel will shoot right above cyan, and that's when the orange will take its node out. That didn't happen, so I felt pretty comfortable leaving that to go. And you know when you have orange between cyan and red in a continuation, and boom, there pretty much was continuation through all this until we started to dip down here. And then we were likely to have a couple little buy scenarios, and started out that way. I mean, at least nothing wrong with taking your gains at the zeros on those and then rinse and repeat. It just they couldn't catch a bid or nothing even close over the 23%. And for me, it's one of those where you've got to at least prove it one time by getting over 23%. Now we've done that on this latest one, and it makes sense too because you can see we've finally broken past the peaks of the red DOC. Likely to roll over a little bit, but at least that will have given me marker for the turnaround, and we're actually getting closer to having alleviated all of that superselling, and that will have the potential of getting closer to move back up to a positive shakeout, which would indicate it. Now we have falling Morganachis as well. That's also going to be a draw to the upside, but 27.93 again, algo level. It's going to be a little bit of a accumulation, fight back and forth right at that particular spot. Very exciting stuff, so I think it's all good. Very happy to see that take place. We were looking for the increase in the volatility, and there wasn't enough on the bullish side to suggest that they were going to be able to make it work out in their favor, at least for holding supports, and that's exactly what happened. We weren't able to do it. And it's going to set us up for an interesting start to June. Everyone says sell in May and go away. Well, that looks like what they're doing. We'll see if it continues. As always, though, trade well, and I will certainly put up anything if it was relevant to go on the Skype chat. This is all pretty clean and unique happening here. Trade well.